Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's play some Stranded Alien Dawn, shall we? Doing a guide for complete beginners. And what we're going to do in this guide is start up a brand new game so that you can play along, follow along, and learn to play the game, or even just see if it's the kind of game you might want to play. I'm going to be playing on vanilla, and Stranded Alien Dawn is a colony management game similar to RimWorld, Dwarf Fortress, etc. But if you've never played those games, that's fine. I'm going to approach this guide in both ways, with knowledge of playing this game and streaming the game, getting advice from other players, playing RimWorld, playing Dwarf Fortress, and other colony management games, but also present it in a way where even if you have no experience with those games, you'll be totally fine and learn the kind of basics. So what I'm going to do is explain the UI, the controls, how to survive, some basic tips and tricks, and the overall strategy of the game, but not do so in a way that teaches you to min-max or go for the fastest possible builds and spoil anything about the experience, but rather just provide you with enough foundational basics so that you can play and enjoy Stranded Alien Dawn the way you want to. Sound good? Let's dive in and begin with a new game. Now, there are tutorials that are built into Stranded Alien Dawn that I went through, and they're pretty helpful. We're going to skip over those and just jump into a game, and I'll explain what those tutorials go through in our play naturally as things emerge. And this is going to be a beginner's guide series because there's so much to explain, especially as we move ahead, start researching, and new challenges are presented. So the crash landing scenario is what we're going to do. We're going to do the Sorbrius region with the Concordia moon. We're going to go with medium difficulty. This is our seed, so if you want to play on the same world, I believe you can just use this seed and play on it. I don't know how much is randomized from that point, but the map should be the same. At least I think so. And there are different biomes, as you can see, flashing around, and they all present unique challenges, like this desert, for example. But we're going to be going with just kind of like the baseline starter approach, and we'll fire it up. Now, from here, you get to choose your 4 survivors, and they're kind of pre-built here. So you've got Connor, Sora, Vanessa, and Yoko, and this is what was chosen for me. But if you don't want some of these people, you can just, kind of kick them out. So you can just double-click on people and bounce them out. You can use the same people that I'm going to use, or you can use whichever people that you like. What you want to do is, when you see up here in the upper left, the 4 people that we'll start with are survivors. You can read in the middle column their background story, their traits, like their kind of special abilities, and then, well, some are good, some are bad traits that just kind of shape the interactions between them and how they respond to events and things, and make the game vibrant and interesting. And then on the right, you're going to see their skills that they have. And we'll talk about what kind of a spread we want. So if we just went with, this build that they recommended for us. So we'd have Connor, who is a doomed cyborg bodyguard. And he has sniper eye, which means he shoots twice as fast with ranged weapons, which is great for hunting and defense. However, he's intimidating because he's terrifying. I mean, look at him. And he's a cyborg. So other people who interact with him are going to kind of not like that all the time because he's scary. And as I said in the beginning, this is a colony management game. And if you're not familiar with that, it means you're going to take kind of indirect and sometimes direct control of your people, managing them with work orders and priorities, and they will interact with each other, and you need to provide for them their needs to satisfy, their thirst, their hunger, shelter, entertainment, but also they're going to have psychological things that happen where they get happy or sad based on interactions with other people, their treatment, how they're feeling and things. And so you have to make sure that they're happy, that they have entertainment, ways to, de-stress, food variety, etc. So thinking about that, we know that Connor is going to kind of make people maybe not quite as happy because he intimidates them. And is that a good trade-off? Well, everybody has pros and cons. So there is nobody who's just only positive. But in exchange, he has a 6 combat skill, as you can see on the right. Let me select him. These skills: combat, construction, cooking, crafting, farming, healing, intellect, and physical, govern activities that people can do. And some are very obvious. Cooking is cooking, but crafting can affect different types of crafting. And combat is going to be used for fighting, but also for hunting. And so if this guy can shoot twice as fast, that means he's going to be amazing hunting at range and fighting at range, and that might be worth the fact that he is intimidating. So a little scary, but let's give him a shot. Next we have Sora, and she is a sniper. So she grew up in the caves of a hostile, lawless desert world, and she also has the sniper eye trait, so she shoots twice as fast. Good. However, she's desert born, so this means that she's good with the heat, not good with the cold. And she's vegetarian and will not eat any meat. So that means that the food you provide her, it's got to be vegetarian. And is that worth it? Well, I'm going to tell you that at least, first of all, you can just do whatever you want and probably be okay. It might just be inefficient when you build your team. But what I like to do is have people that are good at a variety of things so that I can excel in the different tasks and challenges that the game presents. So she kind of overlaps Connor. Like, they're both fighters. Now, there's nothing wrong with having people fight because you're going to constantly have to defend your settlement against like bugs and aliens that are attacking you. So fighters are good. You don't want to have people who aren't good at fighting, like your whole team, but you don't necessarily need your entire team to be amazing at that. So when you look at the rest of her skills, they're actually not, she's not good at anything else, so maybe we don't need her if we're going to take Connor. Now, Vanessa is a pathologist, so she's going to be like our doctor, and it's very good to have a healer. She can't fail a medical treatment looking at her traits in the middle. She's an impeccable healer. She makes people happy if she plays music, so that's good. And she is sickly. So this means that if she does get hurt or sick, she recovers twice as slow. Now, this could be a problem if she's going to be our healer and somebody else needs healing and she's down for the count. But if we could keep her safe, this is pretty reasonable. She is basically only good, as you can see, at healing and, not great at anything else. Now, a very important thing that you can do while you have Vanessa selected here, do you see this little triangle underneath each of the skills? This, at the bottom, it says, this shows the highest skill among the selected crew. So what this is telling you is based on who we have selected between Connor, Vanessa, and Yoko, these are where our highest levels are. So you kind of want as many of these triangles to be to the right as you can so that you can handle things. She would be our best healer, but is not the best at anything else. And that's not encouraging. By the way, you can also mouse over intellect, for example, and it says the intellectual potential of the survivor. It affects the speed at which the survivor researches new technologies and observes unknown species. We definitely want somebody who is good at researching and observing. This is critical, and she's not great at that. She's better than Connor, but she's not really good at it. And healing, while it's important, it's not always a factor where you're gonna, when it matters, it really matters, but it's not a high frequency thing, whereas you're gonna always need to fight and hunt, and you're always going to need to be doing research and observing mostly at the beginning, but still research throughout the game. So she's actually not someone I'm super keen on taking, and I'm going to bounce her out of the group. Now, what is Yoko about? She's the femme fatale. She looks like super sinister here. She is also good at healing, and she's good at crafting. Now, something interesting, too, is when you look at her skills, you see how it says indifferent, interested, indifferent? When people are interested in something, it means that if they're doing that task, they actually derive happiness from it. Like, they like to do it. So if we had her crafting, she would be good at it, and she would enjoy it. So that's great. Now, let's look at her. Occasionally improves the crafting skill of others, so she boosts other people. She gains happiness when killing or observing death, dear God. And that's it. Like, she actually has... You would think maybe she has some kind of bad thing about her. Other people might be put off by the bloodlust. I don't think so. But she's reasonable. She's good at healing and crafting. Two things. She's also the grandmother of Ken, as it says in relationships, and that means if we select Ken, this guy right here, we could have a family together if we wanted, and he's similar. He's got that bloodlust about him, and he's also good at combat. He is additionally good at finding scrap metal during scavenge operations and expeditions. So that's actually pretty cool. Like, he is as good at fighting as Connor is, but he doesn't shoot twice as fast. Now, I've never played with a character with bloodlust. I'm going to try to do some things that are new to me so we can learn along together. Bloodlust could be a thing where if they don't kill enough, they become unhappy. And they, need to kill something, like Dexter or something, which would be problematic, but there is plenty of stuff to fight, so there's that. I'm not going to take him, though. And from my understanding, all of these people are on a ship together, and then the ship crashes, and your segment of the ship just has, the 4 crew members that you select. And we can encounter, potentially, some of the other survivors from this list as we play the game. So, Yoko and Connor are who we've got, but what else do we need? Okay, so we certainly want construction, intellect, farming. These are all things that we really, really want. So, Grayson is somebody who is reasonable at construction, good intellect, also good at crafting. He is slow, but so his movement speed is 25%. However, he's 4 times work speed when crafting or constructing with wood because he's a carpenter. Now, this is a guy that I actually use in my Let's Play. I'm going to link in the description below my Let's Play if you want to see me playing the game for the first time. But I'm not going to use him here because I've already got experience. And I'd like to use new people, so it's all new to me as well. So I'm just looking for people who are... for example, Rita is, very good at farming. And she's cheerful, and she likes observing things. So, remember when I said that nobody has only positive things? That doesn't mean that they can't have all positive traits. All of her traits are positive, but there's a trade-off, which is to say, she might not have skill levels that are that exciting. So everybody has a balance of like how good they are at each skill and what positive and negative traits that they have. And some might be more good than others, and others might be in there to provide like a challenge for you. It is worth mentioning, though, as we're kind of picking our crew, even if somebody has 0 skill at something, you can start them out at the very beginning working at that and level it up, and they can actually become good at it over time. So don't feel like, this person can never do it. Necessity is the, mother of invention, so people might have to do things that they aren't skilled at and then can learn to do them better. And Yoko is going to help everybody craft. So she's really good at farming, and she's interested in cooking. We do need that as well. And she has a 3 intellect and likes to observe. So she could be our farmer and our researcher as well. And now we're just lacking significantly in construction. She also has a 3 in combat, which is good enough. Let's see, he's good at farming. So this guy, Raka, is really good at construction, likes to do it, and he's gloomy, though, but he does build things twice as fast. So do we want a gloomy person, or do we want Quinn, the spaceship architect, who is cheerful, likes to explore on expeditions? Expeditions are something we get to later in the game when we build a hot air balloon. So he's good at construction and is actually interested in intellect and might be good at researching and exploring as well, but he's horrifying at combat. So she's also a 0 at combat, and that's okay. I don't know, I kind of like this mix. And now let's see where we are. The only things that we're really not great at are intellect and cooking. So maybe we want to try to find someone who is Simon, who is a corporate spy. He's a good cook and he's intellectual. He's also a fast walker. But if he bleeds, his thrombophilia comes into play. Let's see. This is a little low on the intellect side, but a 3 I think we can work with. And if I were to tell you like what I would prioritize over like the number 1 things that you want to look for, it's combat, construction, intellect, crafting, farming. Healing is good, physical is good, cooking is good, but you can learn to cook. It's not vital at the beginning. So this isn't perfect, but it should be fun. And let's go ahead and start with this mix. We're coming in hot. All right, so first things first, I am going to pause the game. We just crashed. We are dealing with the fact that our spaceship had some serious issues. This might be a little escape pod that we launched on, and we have crashed here because this scenario is crash landing. And Quinn is having a meltdown. You heard the indication, and over on the right of the screen, you could see Quinn is having a meltdown because his happiness is low, and he's completely uncontrollable for a moment. But that's okay. He's crying because we crashed. It's going to be fine. You could see actually that Rita and Connor are already going over to try to help him out. I mean, even the cyborg is helping him out. Yoko is not interested and not impressed. So let's get some things straight right off the bat about the controls. You can move the camera around using WASD, or you can use the arrow keys to do this. You can rotate with Q and E. You can use and hold the middle mouse button to rotate the pitch and zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. And I paused the game using spacebar. The time controls, because this is a real-time colony management game, are in the upper left, and let's just talk about what we see on the screen. So looking at the UI in the upper left where I was telling you about the time controls, you can see the season is spring. And this little triangle will kind of go through the different seasons there, indicating when it's going to be hot, when it's going to be cold, when it's going to be fall. Spring, green, summer, fall, blue, winter. And you'll see then this is our current research, the light bulb. We have none queued, so we're not doing any research. I'm playing using imperial measurements here. You can use centigrade, of course. I'm just using Fahrenheit. It's fine. And it's 40 degrees outside, so it's a bit chilly. It's a brisk spring morning here. And it's year 1, day 1. And it is 7 in the morning. And here is the time control. And I've paused it, but you can push spacebar to unpause it. And you can use plus and minus or click these buttons to speed up and slow down the game. In the top center of the UI, you're going to see the 4 different character portraits for our survivors, and when you have more or less people, they're just going to be displayed here. You can mouse over them to get this tooltip or pop-up window giving you some information about, for example, Connor. Activity is like what they're doing right now. He's idle. He's not doing anything. He doesn't have any work queued up. His work area is global. We haven't defined a specific work area for him. He's got full hit points. The blue bar underneath his health is his happiness. You can see quickly at a glance his equipment from icons. You can see what he's best at, his traits, his health conditions, and you can double click on him to kind of zoom to where he is, and you will get a bigger window on the left of the screen that has categorical tabs that you can cycle through to get more information about him. So you can see how full he is, how tired he is, how relaxed he is. He's starting out great. What weapon he has equipped, what are his cold and heat tolerances, so he needs to be within this temperature range to be okay. What he's best at, what his social opinions are currently, and then you can move through these tabs to check out his health, to check out his happiness, and this will give you a breakdown of like what is making people happy or sad, and you can see the positive numbers in green and red. Now we're going to come back to a lot of this stuff and unpack it more thoroughly. I'm just doing a nice quick rundown of the screen so you can know where to find things. This is his inventory, so you can see the paper doll of what he's wearing and what tools he has, these hammer icons, or what ranged weapon and melee weapon he has. Everybody can have a ranged weapon and a melee weapon. And then this is his skill screen, like what he's good at and what he's leveling up at, how much experience he has. So for example, for combat, it's going to take him 8,000 experience to get to the next level, whereas construction will only take 2,000 experience to get to the next level. Here's his profile, which gives you his background info, more details about their traits, and then these are the restrictions that you can toggle on or off to tell people, for example, not to eat raw food or to be able to sleep on the ground or whatever. And then you also can click this button that looks like the hand holding the pawn to draft him into a military stance if we need to go fight or do something like that and give them different commands. But right now, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to left-click away and let him do his thing. I'm going to move the camera around and continue talking to you about the UI. Now, you can push period to cycle between your survivors from left to right, and you can go backward from right to left by pushing comma, or you can just double click on them, or you can click on them in the world to interact with them and open up their, kind of more detailed screen. Then above the character portraits, you're going to see our resources that we have, and this is a truncated view of the resources. If I mouse over this, you can see right now scrap metal, cooked meals, and then if you mouse over it, you will get a breakdown of more about what you actually have in that category. And as we get more resources, this will expand. So some of the resources will be amalgam together, like your meals are going to go in this category, but then individual resources, maybe like sticks and wood, will go into their own counters up on the top as we acquire them. This is how much medicine we have, how many spare clothing we have, and then if you mouse over it, you can see of what type, because people need clothes for different weather conditions and different temperatures, seasons, what weapons we have, and what other items we have. And notice that we have a laser pistol just lying around. Well, I'd like Connor to have that laser pistol because he is my best fighter, and remember, Connor has this sniper eye trait. So I'm going to go to his paper doll here in inventory, the shirt icon on his character panel, and I'm just going to click on the gun, and then when you click on this, it will show you all available ranged weapons that you have. And I have a laser pistol, so I'm going to mouse over it. It gives you an explanation of its stats. So it's got a range of 66 feet. It's an energy weapon. It attacks at every 1 to 2 seconds. It has a hit chance of 60 to 80%. It has a crit chance of 0 to 20. And you can see with the asterisks, these are based on his skill level. So I'm going to give it to him. Now, he has something to do. And you can see how Connor in the lower right, he has a job that looks like a box. That generally means people are hauling something or going to get something or put something away. She has this question mark, meaning like she doesn't really know what she's doing. He has this icon for the fact that he's crying, the red icon there. And I'm going to left click away from that. In the upper right, you're going to see your ability to queue up orders to or kind of show different things about the game. So you can change Z levels. We don't have any Z levels, so we can't go up and down. You can show your orders. You can show work areas. We can't define work areas with our current technology, so this does nothing. We can actually then use the upper right to affect what we see in the world or even change the UI. So if you want to hide the survivor portraits, you can. You can hide the resources, which I like to have both of those visible. And you can show how many resources are stored. I like to have that on. And you can show the location of tamed animals. That's fine. Then along the bottom ribbon of the screen are your commands. So you can give people orders. So if I click on this, all sorts of orders like chop down these trees or harvest this food or salvage this ship or butcher this animal, you can give it here. The camp commands, which allow you to build shelters, places to sleep, anything for just rough and ready building. Ranching, a drying rack if we had meat or hides. Storage to build stockpiles and shelves. Science, so we can build our research desk and start doing research. Defensive structures like fences and traps. And then the management button allows you to customize your research, to set people's priorities and activities, to change their daily schedules, and this is really important for new players, the help screen. So you can click on this or push F1 at any time to get a completely searchable in-game help that is fantastic. Now, I've still got this paused, so I can also look around and you see right here there are some resources that are just strewn about the world that flew out of the ship, and we definitely want to start picking up these resources. But first, we have to start taking care of some essentials. So right now, the ship has blown up. Well, not quite blown up, but taken some serious damage, and there's flames everywhere. And we are in this hostile environment. It looks okay for the moment, but we're not really sure about our safety and our survival. So we have some things to take care of. And let's begin with the basics. I'm going to go into the camp button, and let's build ourselves a shelter. So when I mouse over shelter, it tells you can make a small roofed space, and these are like the basic buildings that you're going to create in the beginning of the game that provides you with just a roof and some walls that you can use for all sorts of things to keep people protected from the rain and the elements at least a little bit. And you could see in this tooltip, it says scrap metal shelter or stick shelter. Scrap metal, the number is in that off-white there, but then the stick shelter, which I can use hay or sticks for, cut grass or sticks, the numbers are in red because I don't have any sticks and I don't have any cut grass. But I can immediately make them out of scrap metal because scrap metal we're going to have in surplus because there's all these busted up ship parts and it flew off of the ship. And you could see in the top center I have 80 pieces of scrap metal already. If I want to build this shelter, it's going to take 30 pieces of scrap metal. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to click, then from there, you need to click what material. I'm going to make a scrap metal shelter. It tells you it is built outdoors. It has integrity of 100. That means basically like the hit points of this structure, if it takes damage from getting struck by lightning or animals or whatever, explosions or something. That's how much health it has. And it says this is a small roofed space where survivors can sleep and store their goods without being exposed to the sun and the rain. So we need this both for place for our people to sleep and to cover up our resources so they don't get damaged by the sun and the rain and degrade faster than we want them to. So when I select this, you could see I'm in the building screen now, and as I move the mouse around, the shelter is following me, and there's a grid showing where I can build this. If it turns red, that means I can't build it there. And it explains to you the terrain is uneven. It is showing you how many resources this is going to cost to build. And then in the upper left, you could see there's like a toolbar or tooltip box that says scrap metal shelter, and it gives you the controls for doing this. I can push R to rotate this thing around, and if I want to build multiple of these, which I might, and I do right now, I can shift and left click it down to place it so that I don't have to select camp and then shelter again. I can just build more than one. So I'm going to kind of build close to this, and I'm going to zoom out and just see where looks like a pretty good area. And let's just say this looks fine right here. I'm going to build right here one shelter. I'm going to hold left shift and click, and then I'm going to build another shelter, but I want to show you some tricks. If you build shelters so that they connect, you'll notice how right now there's a blueprint of where the shelter is going to go. You can see the walls, and it's not there yet. They have to bring the materials and actually construct it to finish it, but it's got a ghosted image projecting where it will be. And if I try to build a shelter right next to it, you see how that interior wall disappears. And this allows you to kind of build some different structures that are elongated. So if I build this shelter like so, now it will have these exterior walls but no interior wall. And it is going to be 6 grid squares wide, which will allow me to build a sleeping area for everyone to sleep under the same roof. And that's going to take me 60 of my 80 scrap metal. So good. That's a job that has been queued up. Now, I also am going to want to be able to build, I'm going to click camp, these sleeping spots. But these require fabric or material, or I can just put it on the ground. Now, this is not comfortable, but it's better than nothing. It designates where people will sleep. It makes them sleep underneath the roof, and it doesn't take any resources. So I could select this and just say, hey, do you mind sleeping under here? And you'll see that there's like a image of the orientation of the person, and I want them to be sleeping with their head inside and their feet down below. And you see the green and arrows that are all around it? Those are how people will access this bed spot. If I put it up against a wall, you'll see that 3 of the arrows become red because nobody can get to it because the walls will block it. They only need 1 green entry point to get into this bed. So I'm going to build one here, and I'm going to build one here, and then I'm going to go like this, and build one here and one here. Now, you might say, why are you cramming them all together like that? Well, I'm doing that because we might want an extra sleeping space if somehow we found another survivor, for example, really early. That would be nice. Or we could build something else underneath this sleeping area, like a research desk, for example, and that would be a place to research out of the rain. Now I'm done. I'm going to right-click and close that. Okay, so now we've got a few jobs built up. I'd also like a campfire, but you could see that the campfire needs sticks, and I don't have any sticks. So how do I get sticks? Well, if I click on this bush, it's called a broadleaf bush, and this bush says output when cut. It's going to give me sticks, but under description, you see how it says unknown, requires further study? And then on the right, I have 2 options. I can cut this down, or I can observe it. I want to observe this with somebody, and then I want to cut this one with somebody else. So somebody's going to cut it and get sticks, and then somebody's going to observe it to get more information about this. And generally, you really, really want to observe as much as you can. So I've given several different jobs, and if I were to unpause it now, they're going to go do those jobs based on the priorities that they have listed. Now, you can, at any time, like if I click on Yoko, and I, let's just say the bush that I have this job on, if I right-click on it with Yoko selected, I could tell her to cut this bush down, or I could tell her to observe it. I could give her a direct order, and that's very useful when you need to issue out a mandate and you don't, it's an emergency, or you want it done right now and you want to make sure it gets done. But it's too difficult to manage everybody's activity like that. So instead what you do is you queue up jobs, like we've queued up these construction jobs here, and this observation job, and this cutting job, and then you let people kind of follow the priorities that you list in the activities screen. So I'm going to click Manage, and I'm going to click this clipboard for activities. And this shows you the priority list for people, and it defaults to simple priorities. But I want to click this and change it to complex priorities. Simple priorities is just a check mark, and it means they do it or they don't. And they're going to do these jobs in order that they become available or they're needed from left to right. So, for example, healing is like top priority if they have that checked. Then comes handling, then comes construction, and on down the list. If they don't have something checked, they'll just move down this list. Now, this is fine if you want to play this simple style and you find this intimidating, but I don't think it's super complicated to use the more nuanced activity screen. And what this does is, imagine then all the check marks are replaced by a 3. And you can give people a priority of 1 being highest priority and 5 being lowest priority or altogether off, which is they won't do it at all. And this gives you more control than just having everything equal weight and moving from left to right. So, for example, I know that I want to build something right now. And if I go to the construction activity and mouse over this, you're going to see that it gives you this explanation of what activities fall under the construction umbrella. It's repairing, deconstructing, constructing, and reconstructing. And what's really great about this is it shows you who is good at this skill. It's Quinn and it's Connor, and Quinn is the best by a long shot. So I want Quinn prioritizing construction because he's good at it. And in general, you want people to prioritize what skills they are best at because they will perform the labor better, higher quality, with better efficiency. It'll go faster, it'll be better. That being said, there are certain things like healing that you might want to always have high up because it's more important that gets done quickly. Or if somebody is interested in something and enjoys it, even if they're not good at it, you might want to bump that up in priority. Or based on your needs of what is really important for you right now, you can come here and address this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to left click on construction for Quinn, and you see how the number becomes a 2 and it becomes green. Or if I right click it, I can make this less priority, but I'm going to put it at 2. I like to save 1 for things that are absolute diabolical certainties that I need to have it done. So I'm going to actually even turn on Quinn's healing, because what if there was a situation where everybody was hurt and he was the only one up and he had it off? Then he wouldn't help. I need him to help. But also, you'll see that healing not only affects how you heal others, it is how you heal yourself. So if somebody gets hurt or is sick or something, this is going to affect if they go lay down and try to get bed rest or something like that, or get treatment. And also it affects them healing animals. So I want this to be on. But Yoko is my best healer, and I'd like her to be at 2 for this activity because it's usually like one person can do one instance of a job, and you want the best person for the job to get there and do it first. So boosting the priority up will help with that. Handling is for rescuing others, burying dead people, carrying, dismantling, and this is actually really important, so you want everybody doing it, but I'm going to leave it at 3. Hunting is going to be important for Connor, so if I ever select hunting, I want that to be done by him, so I'm going to put a 2 for him. I'm not, Rita doesn't have to do it, it's fine. Harvesting, Rita is our farmer, absolutely, you're a 2. Now, that being said, I want other people to do harvesting as well, so I'm going to turn this on. I don't want plants to die. If I have a field and it's a big field and we can't get it done before it freezes because the temperature drops, I don't want to lose all of the crops, for example. So I'm going to just turn that on with everybody. They're not going to have anything to do because I don't have any fields anyway, and Rita should take care of most of it. But for now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this at 4 with the other people. Cutting, is something that affects cutting down plants and chopping down trees. And again, I'm going to have Connor really high up on that. But guess what? Yoko is not even assigned to do that. I still want everybody doing this. This is just something that, I need this to get done. Especially early. We need a lot of sticks and a lot of wood. Ranching is taming, leading, feeding, training. Don't care about this right now. We don't have any animals that we're taming. Planting is for farming, planting and fertilizing, and I'm going to bump up Rita again for that. And I don't really care if anybody else can do it. She's going to do that. We're not going to be doing so much planting that this is something I need everybody on. Now, scavenging is a big one because, again, I want this to be done by Quinn and Connor. I'm actually going to leave it at 3, though, and that's fine. And I'm going to put this at 4 for these other people. Mining is also important, but not vital. Right now, anyway. Now, cooking. Who's my best cook? Either Connor or Yoko. So I'm going to bump up her on cooking, because that's something she can actually do. And then she's definitely going to be crafting. And I'm going to put this at 4 for others. Tailoring, yes, I want her to do this, but I don't have a tailor bench. It's not a big deal. I'll adjust that later. Assembling, we're not doing anything advanced on a soldering bench right now. That's fine. Now, observing, we want Quinn to be very high up on that, and Rita as well. And then the same thing for research. Both of these, I want them like this, but Quinn even higher because he's interested in it. And then delivering is hauling items and materials, and we want everyone to do this. Now, this is just my first look at trying to put people on jobs that I think are important and that they're good at. And you're going to kind of toggle around with this based on what you observe your people to be doing and what you feel to be important. You can always come back to the activity screen and adjust this. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to click away, and I'm actually going to just unpause the game and see what happens. We've got some explosions, and our people are moving around, and they're going to start doing things. And you can see now, everybody has a job, and it's displayed underneath their name. Yoko is going to cut this down, Rita's going to calm down Quinn, and Connor's going to get that pistol. Now, if you're not happy with the speed of this, you can, of course, push plus to change the speed. But for now, this is okay. Now, Connor has picked up the gun. He's got it. And by the way, you can see on his portrait, there's a gun in the upper right, which means I have a ranged weapon, and it's a gun. He's the only person that has a weapon right now. So that's another priority of ours, which is to make weapons and to equip them. However, early, you're going to, if I zoom out, you're going to see, look, right here, spaceship debris. Spaceship debris here, over here, more debris, and then there's debris here. There's actually a lot of ready-made items, food, clothing, that we can get by salvaging or scavenging these different spaceships and our landing pod, for example. So I could click on just this one and then click the scavenge button, or I could double click. No, it won't let me select multiple. That's fine. Another way to do this, okay, I can just go to each one and select scavenge. That's great. But I can also go to orders and select scavenge from here. The hotkey is U, and you'll see that my mouse cursor changes, and then I can hold to give that command again. And there we go. So now, here, wait. Let me, yeah. So you can't left click them to use this order. You actually have to drag a box. So when I click scavenge, you see how it says hold. It's not selecting it. It's actually dragging a box. You can't shift and left click. I was trying to just queue them up that way, but it's about boxes, and that's fine. Most of the orders are about boxes. If you want to select them individually, you click on them and then click the scavenge button. But if I drag a box here, you see how these different debris get outlined in yellow? That means that they're going to be selected. And now that they're outlined in blue, that means there's a job queued up on them. And I want all of these to be scavenged. Now, something that's neat is when I can just select something and the game will attempt to give me options for what I want to do. And I didn't even have scavenge selected, but now you see there's spaceship debris, and broadleaf bush. And I can give different orders for the things that I have selected. So I could just say, hey, scavenge that. And I could select this one and say, hey, scavenge that, which is good. And then I could click on this one and click the scavenge button there. So there's lots of different ways to queue up these jobs. I'm going to unpause it. And now we've got a bunch of jobs ready. spaceships and debris to be scavenged. Yoko is immediately going to do that, by the way. And Connor is building the shelter. Quinn is still crying, so he is just going to be doing that. Now, we could try to knock him out, as it said, to knock him out of that, but I'm just going to let him, process the crash in his way while other people are working. And you can see, look at this. Connor has already finished this portion of the shelter. It's filled in. You can see the progress bar here as he works on it. There's also a progress bar for Yoko's job of scavenging. And now Quinn is up and he's ready to go. He's moving on and he's going to build the sleeping spots. Rita is observing the bush. Excellent. Okay. Opportunity human enhancement. So sometimes there are events that will happen, and when there's notifications or events, they come on the left side of the screen, and you click on them, and you see what's going on here with Connor. And he says, hey, listen, I just happen to have a handy little thing, a nanobot booster shot. When injected, those nanites or whatever increase the host's movement, manipulation, and health. Ain't they handy? Now, before you say anything, it's not permanent. These things dissolve in a matter of days and leave no trace. Well, they do cause some pain in the meantime, but come on, it's totally worth it. So you can say, Connor, why don't you use the shot, and it will last for 10 days. We can hit everybody with it for 5 days, or we can get rid of it. It's not needed here. And this is up to you, how you want to respond to this. I'm actually going to give everybody the shot. They're not going to like it. It's going to hurt them, but it's going to increase our performance so that we can get stabilized in these first 5 days when we have a lot of different jobs to do. So now you can see, look, everybody got nanites and moderate pain. So if I, for example, if I click on Connor here and I go to his happiness tab, you can see he's at 71%, and the triangle is kind of like his target, and it's building up to this, but then it might move down and trend that downward. He's got 50 happiness from survivor determination, so everybody's already pretty happy because they made it, they lived. And he also has 25 from surviving the crash and 9 from his food, his satiety level. Now he has -9 from the pain, but you can see that we got this buff from the nanites, and you can see we have 125% movement, and our manipulation has been boosted by the nanites. He also has a vision implant, and so everything with our brain, we're getting all these benefits from the nanites. More health regeneration, movement, and manipulation. So we're just going to be a little bit faster at everything. I like it. Interesting. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do to survive, and that's what we're doing. Okay, now, they're both going to scavenge, and I'm down to 20 scrap metal, so that's important. However, let's see what we've got here. There's a bunch of scrap metal right here, and this is kind of like our outdoors, some of our items. There is also some emergency rations here, and we have 60 total emergency rations. There's a big block of them over here, 13 down here. They're just scattered everywhere, but the game is giving us credit for having them. However, they're scattered about, and if I click on them, you see how it says they're vegetarian, there's one meal, they're outside. It's giving them refrigeration right now, but that's just because these are emergency rations. These babies can last without good protection. They're fantastic. And I think actually the refrigeration might be the fact that it's so cold outside is what's going on. And if it gets warm, then we're not going to get that benefit. But they're outdoors, so the shelf life could drop on some of these things, and we need to worry about that. And the way that we're going to solve this problem is by building some more shelters. and some stockpiles. So you can see Connor's over here scavenging. Yoko is scavenging. And when you're done observing, you can see we've discovered the broadleaf bush. And it says it's just an ordinary bush that could be cut down for sticks. However, by observing it, now we can plant this and we can grow our own to ensure that we have nearby controlled stick growth, which is useful because sticks are important. And you can see now that we've collected some sticks, they've opened up here on the inventory or the resource ribbon, and we see them up there. And so I'm just going to have a bunch of people scavenge for a moment. And I'm going to push plus to go double speed. And we're going to see what we can find here. Only 4 hours have passed since I unpaused the game. It's 11 a.m. It's fine. And let's see what happens when Yoko finishes. Okay, so she found 32 synthetic textiles. So those are incredibly important because they're hard to produce until a little bit later. And they are what we can make bandages or clothing out of. So fantastic. We could also make better sleeping spots out of them if we wanted, but I'm not in a hurry to do that at the moment. Now, Rita is scavenging, but I'm going to give another job over here. You see there's some blade grass. I'm going to mark this for observation. We want to observe everything that we can click on. We already observed this broadleaf bush, so we have more information. This wide leaf plant, tell me what that is. Observe it, please. What is this? Now, we're going to observe that already. And let's just start looking around for this. We already know. This is a tree. Observe that. There are some animals here. There's like this bloated insect. There's a dog, for example. And these, you can click on these and it says they seem peaceful. So they're not immediately hostile, which is good. Here we go. Here's some mushrooms. We want to observe these. There's a fallen tree. These bright leaf plants, I'd like to observe those and just see what is around us that we can use. See if there's anything else that catches my eye. Okay, we found a bunch of liquid fuel, which is going to be very important. There's another ship that we can scavenge over here. This is rock that we can mine for stone if we need stone for anything, so that's useful to know. We don't need to observe that. It's just rock. Let's see. Okay. There are these flightless birds. There's the pointy red plant. I'll observe that. Is anybody observing these bloated insects? We'll get there. There are these twisted plants. Observe that, please. Okay. What is this? Oh, great. Okay. I'm going to observe these squash-like plants. We need some food. I'm, like, looking around. We've got mushrooms. Here we go. I was looking. I was like, this is what we want. We want these peculiar bushes that have berries. Those are very useful. Okay. So, now you can see two people have quit their job to go observe because observing is a higher ranked activity for them, and that's actually fine. We did get somebody, you could see a running count over here on the right. Like, altogether, those people finished their job. And in a lot of these management games, it works like this. Unless I right-click them to interrupt them from their task, to tell them to do something else, for the most part, they're not going to just jump in from being in the middle of a job to go do another job, even if you change the priority. They're going to kind of finish the job that they're on, and then after that, they're going to check the priority, see what jobs are available, and then do something. So a lot of people finished scavenging and then started to go observing. And we found 33 more scrap metal, which means we have 53, which will allow me to start going into camp, shelter, and we can build some more structures for our camp. So I'm going to put, like, right here, for example, I'm going to left, and I'm going to just build just like that. And then in here, I'm going to click storage, and I'm going to click on stockpile, and I'm just going to drag out Oh, right. So the thing about stockpiles is you have to build it like this, and then because people need to be able to access it. So you can't build like a 2 tall and 6 wide stockpile because they won't be able to get to the back section. So you kind of have to build it like this, where you let them have little rows, like so, where they're going to put these things. I'm going to go stockpile. There. So unfortunately then, here we go. That should be fine. Now all of these will be where they can move resources. And Quinn did stop observing, or was he scavenging? He might have actually been in the middle of walking to something and then changed his mind. But either way, at least I don't think they interrupt their current labor. I'm pretty sure they don't, but that's okay. He's going back to doing that job now. And this is done. And this stockpile, you can click on it, and you can change what is stored here by clicking this kind of restriction tab. But right now, I'm fine with everything going there. We found a pair of pants, which is great. If we need to change what they're wearing. One of the main things in this game is that people's clothing degrades over time. So you really need to make sure people have enough clothing, shoes, and the right apparel for the weather. Alright. Now, another thing that we want would be in camp. I'm going to click on campfire. And I'm going to make it out of scrap metal. And I'm just going to click a campfire like right here. And even I can't build it. I don't have the materials, and that's why it says insufficient materials, but I can queue it up. I'm also going to go to science and queue up a research desk out of scrap metal and just put it right here. So 3 people are observing, and Quinn is moving stuff around. At the beginning, it's a lot of observing, and that's fine. You can see now we have 32 synthetic textiles. We got a bunch of fuel. The icons up here are filling up. We discovered blade grass. Let's click on this. And this allows us to plant blade grass for hay, which is super useful. Hay is great. It's used for a lot of different recipes. Connor is going to eat an emergency ration, and you see he's just eating this standing up because we don't have a table set up yet, which we want to do. Yep, you saw the -6 happiness because he ate on foot. He was not pleased about that. Now, Quinn, you saw him just get 20 happiness boost. That's because he gets to go do something of intellect, like research, which he likes to do. So he's really excited about it. It's getting to be late at night. It's 8 p.m. And this is a good time to talk about our schedule. So next to activities in the manage section, you can click on schedule and tell people what to do. So currently, they have anything scheduled from 2100, 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., which they'll probably just sleep, and then work for the rest of the day. Now, this schedule is not great because I want to force them to sleep, first of all. So I'm going to click sleep, and I'm going to paint that in. I want to make sure everybody gets enough sleep. Then, what I also want to do is add in some time for people to relax. So I'm going to let people unwind at the end of the day so they don't get really frustrated. And then in the first section of the day, I'm going to let people do whatever they want. Now, let me go back to that. You'll notice there's no eating. If you click on work, it says survivors will eat and take naps if the need arises. And relax means they will take naps if they're tired, but they won't work or sleep. And anything means they can do whatever they want. So you could cut down on their relax time here and then just paint maybe, let's just say you wanted to do it like this. Then they could do whatever they want. Now, we could go at this in a more nuanced way, but let's just observe how this works for the people that we have and how their psychology is doing given this schedule. Like, is it too much working, not enough relaxing? Do people have enough time to eat? You could see right now, because of that, look, he was taking a walk, Connor was, and now he's going to sleep. Other people are eating, and they're standing in the flames to do that because, well, I don't know why. And they're a little bit unhappy because they ate on foot. We'll remedy that soon enough, but we have a lot of important work to do, observing everything around us so we know what's what, scavenging, starting to build some basic structures, and you can see they're all going to bed. And now everybody is asleep. We at least have food, some basic shelter, and we've talked about a lot of the game function, and we're going to end this first episode of our Complete Beginner's Guide to Stranded Alien Dawn here. In the next episode, we're going to continue building. We're going to start doing research. We're going to maybe get some weapons and crafting online, thinking about defense, think about farming, and improve our position so that we can actually survive here on this alien world. Everyone, I hope you have found this episode to be helpful and fun, and if you have any questions about Stranded Alien Dawn, please post those in the comments below. I'd love to help you out with the game. And if you're a Stranded Alien Dawn veteran and you'd like to share your tips for new players or make any corrections to mistakes that I made, then that would be so much appreciated. However, please do so in a way that's not spoilery or too complicated for new players, so no one gets overwhelmed and can really enjoy this at their own pace. Remember, people might be coming at this game and this type of game for the very first time, and what I like to do in these guides is really make it approachable and say, hey, you know what? I'm not great at these games, but I have a blast playing them, and the more knowledge I have, the more fun I can have being successful without the stress of being perfect or min-maxing. All right, everyone. I'll check you in the next episode. Take care.